lesson. So, okay. So, Encik Amir, Assalamualaikum. Can you hear us?
Ya.
Boleh ya?
Boleh.
Okay, good morning semua. So thank you so much for attending the last session that you're going to see. After that you can rest. So today is my last one. So I want to make it a little bit special, but I think I'm going to go back about support, okay? Because we dah cover everything. We cover, our acceptance, our penerimaan, our psychology. Kita dah talk about identifying the child's strength. Kita dah tahu weakness dia. Sekarang, so I taught you how to look at strength. And then we talked about the kinds of support they need, which is therapy, and then academic support, which I covered last week. But in order to have all of this kind of support given, this environment given to our special students, our special kids, we need to create support for the environment so that the environment can support the kids. You know? The problem kat Malaysia ni, nobody is willing to create the environment. Yeah? So Nur Fatini, can you hear me? Saya tak tahu siapa ni. Hello? Okay, missing. Hello? Oh, it's black. Hello? Okay, tak apa. If you can get me, you call me, you talk to me, ya. So anyway, I will continue. Sekarang is to review back sebab last week tak cukup masa, is the support needed in school and at home. And we divide it into two, physical and non-physical support. Tak ada support ni, susah you nak create the environment to support the child. Okay? So, let's look at physical support. There are two areas. Okay? To create an environment where we can support the child regardless lah, through therapy or strength identification or through academic support, we need this. We need assistance from the government. So, I really encourage you to register as an OKU. I know some people, let me share.
Nanti kalau dah register OKU, mereka suruh pergi sekolah pendidikan khas.
I know, but sometimes it's better to go pendidikan khas than, boleh nampak tak my presentation?
Yep.
Okay. Sometimes it's better to go to PPKI rather than going to a school who doesn't care. I personally believe that PPKI sebab dia satu cikgu 10 student. Jadi budak tu tak stres. The problem is bila you duduk kat sekolah biasa, dia pun tak boleh. And this is what I see cases of student budak darjah 6, tingkatan 1, ABC pun tak tahu. Sebab disumbatnya dalam, and I can see a lot of depressive, suicidal cases from children as young as 9 bila masuk sekolah perdana and they have teachers that don't care. Pasal asyik kena rotan. Saya sampai berbalak-balak. Lepas tu balik rumah kena rotan lagi. But you know, and I think ada yang sampai stories that we share dengan Prof Zulika. Budak tu bapak dia penoreh getah 9 tahun. Dia cakap kat Prof, biarlah dia jadi macam ni. Biarlah dia keluar dari sekolah, dia macam neraka. Daripada dia duduk situ, baik dia bapak dia toreh getah. Sekarang ni dia lagi careful kat situ daripada dia asyik kena dera je kat sekolah. You know, tergamak kita dengar. Budak 9 tahun tau, boleh fikir lagu tu. Jadi, I rasa macam sometimes, katalah, you study yourself, kalau budak tu dipindahkan ke PPKI, at least you have time untuk tolong anak you kat rumah. Kalau dia kat sekolah, You tahu math curriculum, matematik dengan bahasa curriculum dia so difficult budak tu nak follow. Especially kita yang susah nak follow, anak kita susah nak follow kan. I think you think twice, and you also need the money for OKU punya benefit, so that you can support untuk hantar pergi tuition ke, one-on-one tutoring ke, untuk buat terapi ke, untuk buat assessment ke. Jadi I would suggest kalau you PPPKI pun the real learning, academic learning starts at home. You know, I know PPKI is not the ideal solution, but you have to make a judgment lah. Kalau sekolah perdana you don't care sangat, maybe it's time you take the teaching, hantar PPPKI untuk belajar urus diri, untuk simple things, untuk berkawan, tapi the real learning at home, and then you get the benefit of the OKU. Sebab kalau benefit OKU, medical covered, university tempatan covered, you know, until dia mati. Jadi all this benefit ni I rasa don't close a blind eye, perlu juga, especially medical. Bayangkan you dapat medical free sampai budak tu tak ada lah sampai seumur hidup dia. That is in this time of economy kan. Perlu juga tu tau. Yeah, so I hope I answer your question ya, Puan Majana. So, sebab money at this time penting, government assistance. So, now, what system ni, if you decide to train your children at home, you must have a system to teach, to ajar dia to be independent. Okay, I cannot cover now because time is so short, but there must be some form of jadual and some form of mechanism where you teach the child year by year, slowly dia independent, dia boleh buat kerja sendiri. Macam my son now, I train him 60 to 70% of his work he can do on his own. Okay, so slowly kita train time management and independent. Penting tu, budak dyslexia tak boleh baca time sangat, and so to be punctual, to finish work on time, to manage his work kan, sebab kita nak prepare kalau dia pergi high school later, kalau pergi high school later, dia need to be independent, how to manage all his pelajaran, how to submit things on time, ya, how to, katalah kita ada paper kan nak submit bulan depan, so jangan tunggu last minute nak buat. So I find that dyslexics ni have that problem. So dia tak boleh baca time, so dia tak tahu. Jadi dia wait until the last minute baru orang habaq dia, have you prepared? Prepare apa? Esok ni due. Betul ke? So that's where the failure rate starts falling lah. The academic failure starts coming in. So you know, benda ni you tak boleh train time tu. You have to start the discipline from young. Dari kecil kena start discipline lah. So you build sikit. Okay, kalau next week saya punya assignment, how do I break down the assignment? Every day kena buat apa? Every day kena buat apa? You know, those sort of things. Urus diri lah orang panggil ya. Secondly is learning aids. Also, I cannot cover now, but basically we need as I showed you before, English and math requires a lot of different way of teaching. So you need to have a lot of learning aids, alat-alat pembelajaran to help you. A strong, solid curriculum for dyslexics and alat-alat pembelajaran. Sebab budak ni kena belajar secara tangan. Tak boleh secara explain. This is my homeschool. I have a variety of materials, and so we have that's where all my money goes. Either I build it. So kalau kalau you have a room, you prepare a room, and then you join this Facebook discussion Professor Zulika tu. She does a lot of do it yourself, buat craft, macam mana nak ajak. Even simple thing, macam mana nak ajak semayang ni. Give up. Nak ajak semayang, ajak hari ni, esok lupa, ajak hari ni lagi, dia tukar rokok dengan sujud, macam-macam lah. So kita guna learning aid, grafik, tunjuk sujud macam mana, kena hafal macam mana, break it down kan. So so if you join Professor and my Facebook, Professor Zulika, then you akan nampak macam-macam idea yang kami share untuk bantu you all teach independently lah, ya. Yeah?
So Facebook itu nama apa?
Sekejap saya cek. Zulika ya. Let me share with you. I will share with you ya.
Okay.
I will share with you. I will write down. We do macam kira database ya, repository untuk learning strategies. And we review curriculum, we give learning strategies. So friend with me on Facebook, kan? So you and Professor Zulika's Facebook, so you can see various teaching types that we use. Especially we focus on elementary learners lah, yeah, young elementary, sebab the support, sebab this is the foundation. And if you see so many skills they have to learn, that's the foundation. You don't have these skills, you cannot go up, through the grades. So penting ni. So that's why we share mostly on here. Bila high school dah quite too late lah, So we share handwriting strategies, sight word strategies, memorizing strategies, math strategies, mayang strategies, macam-macam. Now, support ni is not just physical, we need non-physical. Okay, if you teach at home, grading dia is different. Curriculum dia must be dyslexic friendly, and if you take curriculum tuition, make sure the teacher, as I explained to Cik Amir before, cikgu kena one-on-one, tak mau group-group, sebab nanti for sure anak you akan ke belakang. Number 2, cikgu tu kalau dah one-on-one, kena continuous feedback, and dia lebih pada progress, bukan untuk skor markah ke, skor exam ke, nak bagi lepas darjah. Sebab dyslexia are slow learners, struggling learners. Struggling means time, they need time. So kalau you dah expect mereka nak catch up dengan kawan-kawan, it's not fair to him or her. So the teacher must be able to understand that your expectation is that untuk dia progress sikit-sikit, small increments, ya, very small increment, sikit-sikit, and to incorporate reviews a lot, sebab dia kaki lupa, working memory very poor. So kena banyak bersabar, kena banyak review, kena continuous, commitment. So I propose daripada you duk hantar Kumon atau Inopi atau all this Singapore Maths tuition and all these things, best you cari cikgu yang pernah ajak budak-budak yang masalah pembelajaran, sebab dia jenis yang naluri dia sabar, jenis sabar, nombor 1. Nombor 2, dia faham kalau kita nak dia ajar slow, sebab setengah cikgu dia tak sabar, dia tak mau, dia nak ajak cepat, ataupun dia nak ikut kurikulum dia je, dia tak fleksibel. Jadi selalu cikgu tua lah yang lebih macam ni. Cikgu muda, tak experience sangat. Cikgu tua ni ataupun cikgu muda yang ada experience ajak special need, dia faham, jadi dia akan guna dengan tangan, dia akan guna movement, dia banyak buat activities yang craft, all these hands-on things, so the child can visualize and he understand, or the teacher will understand the time, and they can understand the concept. I'm not going to score exam, I just want my child to learn bit by bit, yeah. Now, kalau boleh work with your teachers at school. Katalah you still don't want to send to PPKI, it is so crucial that you work together with your teachers at school. Try and get a teacher, homeroom teacher yang very understanding. You have to educate that teacher lah. Kalau cikgu tu tak tahu pasal dyslexia, share what I share with you, and always make a pact to meet every week. Okay, so that you can number one, understand their homework, kan? Make sure you understand how to teach your child how to do homework, and also maybe ask them, can I teach my child ahead? So next week nak belajar apa, hari Jumaat tu saya dah belajar dari cikgu, next week dia nak kena belajar apa. Jadi on Saturday Sunday tu saya ajar anak saya dulu kat rumah. Jadi bila dia pergi sekolah dia dah faham dah. Jadi dia macam repeat aja lesson tu, repeat je lesson tu in the week after. So there's a lot of observation and feedback. Now also in terms of his past work, let's say last week banyak lupa perkara ni, subjek tu. Jadi mungkin you nak buat the revision on Saturday Sunday. So that's where a lot of feedback and observation. I notice kalau cikgu tu rajin, dia akan bagi you banyak feedback, banyak bahagian-bahagian yang dia kata anak you tak boleh cover, so you can review and plan ahead lah for next week. And accommodations. Disabled is disabled. That's why dyslexia is disabled. We need macam orang yang buta needs braille, needs audio, needs walking stick and all other forms of support. Cuma kita punya support is more on the academic side, right? Colored filter paper and all these things. Yeah. So sorry, I cannot go further. So today, I'm also going to talk about inclusivity ni. Of course, if you are a teacher, inclusive ni, if you are in, for example, if you are a teacher and your school is an inclusive-based school, then from base, I'm going to share is my best practice dekat US and Belgium, and they really focus on class size. They have an established SOP. They have an established SOP on how not only to manage these special kids, but how to manage the normal children's relationship with these special kids. For example, if the child has dyspraxia, that means they have zero sense of direction. So they will create a mentor program. Macam katalah misalnya budak tu nak pergi toilet, they create a program where they have another student become the volunteer, teman dia pergi toilet and make sure dia balik-balik. You know, that sort of thing. Simple things that can be done in classes can be done, I think, here as well. Of course, they have a lot more inclusive policies, but these are some of the things that I think schools here can do. Okay, you pre-teach the child prior to any group assignments. I know private school dekat US is very big on pre-teaching. Basically, the child comes an hour earlier to school, and the teacher will pre-teach apa yang any group assignment for the day, dia akan ajar awal pagi tu. So that child tahu apa ruang dia, apa yang dia kena belajar, apa semua. Jadi dia prepare child tu dulu. Lepas tu, bila dah start lesson lain, that child tu dah tahu tugas dia apa. Mungkin tugas dia berbeza. Macam misalnya kalau dia buat project assignment dengan group lain, and that child is ADHD. Jadi tugas dia mungkin dia dah habaq YY apa dia kena belajar, and tugas dia mungkin bukan on writing, maybe on collecting work or collecting assignment from other students and that sort of thing lah, kan? So IEP, Individual Education Plan. Every semester dia akan buat custom made education plan for each child depending on their progress and performance and their ability lah. So normally IEP ni dia akan buat based with the together with the parents at least 1 month before dia masuk sekolah for the first day of school, 1 or 2 months. So the parents would share them any behavior problems, progress, academic and all those issues, and they will formulate a plan where the teacher will follow for the whole year, for the whole academic year. And this one will also include feedback from the therapy, therapy for educational therapy ke speech therapy ke apa ke, incorporate in there. Okay. Also, a lot of schools I know sekarang therapy dimasukkan dalam sekolah. Jadi there's no separate therapy outside. Jadi misalnya the child and other students buat English, that child orang tarik keluar buat therapy for an hour. Jadi kelas English biasa dia tak follow, dia akan guna therapy or something like that. Okay, so grading pun grading based on feedback from the therapy, not from the class, academic class itself. So they combine things together. And also they have very strong anti-bullying measure. This is policies by teachers, SOPs to other parents and the child's parents. So they are very holistic. So they have sebab sometimes other parents yang tak faham ada special needs kids ni, they complain, oh this child is disruptive in school, why should I have this child in class? Oh this child got behavioural problem, for example autism kan, menjerit-menjerit apa semua. So they complain, and sometimes they complain to the state government, kata di school tak boleh control the student. So there's a lot of SOPs being put in place for these other parents of normal children to understand that there are special needs, and this is what you're going to expect from the class and whatnot. As they also of course have a lot of anti-bullying measures for normal students as well. Okay, so okay, I'm going to skip this for time. So where do we go? Today we're going to talk about transition. Okay, this is what happens after we leave PDM, leave the incubator, leave UUM. What UUM, leave PPKI. What's going to happen? Okay. Now, there are many cabang. I'm going to focus after Darjah 6 lah. To be fair, after Darjah 6, lepas UPSR. Okay. Banyak cabang. Cuma kita kena make sure from now until UPSR tu, the child has a strong foundation. Jadi cabang dia lagi banyak. Kalau foundation dia very weak, cabang dia semakin berkurang. I cannot help with that. What I concern, bila lepas PPKI, parents biar. Parents biar, jadi that child regress. Walaupun dia ambil UPSR, he's gonna flunk it. And then he will drop out by Form 1. You see? So, for me lah kan, the time you spend at early elementary is so crucial because it's the foundation. You lepas the foundation, hard for the child to catch up and meet. Even if 10 years pun, kalau you tak focus on the foundation, even after 10 years pun, the child tergagap-gagap nak follow. So that's why I all these parts here, this early elementary part ni is important for you to focus. Kalau you want to put your money, put in this early education. Biar dia strong, then after that walaupun dia slow, tapi dia boleh climb. Kalau tak ada ni, dia tak boleh climb at all. Kalau slow pun tak apa, dia boleh climb. Now, okay, so PPKI is just transition. Dia tak forever you duduk PPKI. Even now, a lot of dyslexic kids are being put back to Perdana after they spend a few moments in the after they spend a few years, I think, in PPKI. Then after that, they will definitely go back into the mainstream. Okay, so here's the setback. Number one, not many are well trained with dyslexic education, especially in states outside of Selangor lagi lah kan. Reason being, they are not trained. When I was discussing with teachers from the special PPKI training colleges, The amount of training they get for learning disability is very, very poor, particularly dyslexia. In their whole training course, diorang bagi maybe 3 hours saja for dyslexia. Compared to the whole training course yang bertahun tu, they only given 3 hours to learn about dyslexia. So apa sangat dia orang tahu? Mostly they are focusing on the physical or the ones like GDD, Down syndrome. Those are the high function lah, kan? So also PPKI schools very limited, taklah banyak, kan? It's not that many, and they don't really focus on learning disability education. So sometimes it's like your child is in the grey area. Pergi perdana susah nak follow, pergi PPKI tak belajar apa, you know. So I understand that is going to be an issue, but I suggest still, you know, consider, because your child needs that breathing space to learn and strengthen their foundational skills that you are going to champion. Okay, so katalah you go PPKI, what I notice a lot of parents here do is that hantar untuk kawan je. Lepas tu balik belajar betul kat rumah, sama ada melalui tutoring atau dia sendiri ajar. Okay. So okay, sorry. So what I noticed, there are some PPKI yang sama blok dengan sekolah perdana. Dia yang sama space tau. I know dekat Johor there are quite a few. I really like that. Reason being, they do continuous monitoring. Lepas pelajar tu pergi PPKI, lepas tu dia hantar kat blok sebelah aja untuk pergi sekolah perdana. Jadi cikgu PPKI dengan cikgu perdana selalu communicate mengenai pelajar tu. Jadi misalnya ada satu case mana pelajar tu diorang transfer lah, lepas darjah 3 diorang transfer ke sekolah perdana. And what happen, cikgu dekat sekolah perdana tu akan selalu meet up dengan cikgu dekat PPKI to discuss, budak tu boleh cope tak the transition tu from PPKI ke perdana. Sebab apa? Kelas blok tu 9-12 je, senang nak ni. Jadi cikgu PPKI pun boleh update kat cikgu perdana what's happening lah, you know, what's the certain behavior or certain habits or certain issues that the child has that you have to take a look at, and how do you address it, you know. So there's continuous monitoring. Kalau dapat that kind of environment, I really recommend you try to send there, because it's seamless, you know, the transition is seamless, and you can provide the third support to those two teachers on how to transition the child. Mungkin cikgu kata, okay, he has this functioning problem, or he tak apa, you cover kat rumah, you know, so that bila he's at the perdana class, his transition is more seamless. Do you understand what I mean? Faham kan? You know, I know dekat Kedah there are a few. I'm not sure about Melaka. You have to check. You have to check, okay? Because I think that the success rate with that child was, they did a case lah. There were a few. One was autistic, another two was ADHD. He managed to go all the way to vocational school. That means that there is progress lah. Slow, but there was slow and steady progress. So that's what we want. Okay. Okay. Now, where do you want to be? It depends on how much money you want to put in to support your child. After PPKI, you support the, what do you call it, the foundation. But even then, depending on your child's progress, they may be a bit behind compared to other students. So you can depending on the child's progress and how much you're willing to support, you can either continue high school, because if let's say the child's doing great, maybe he's just still 1 year behind, UPSR dia not so terrible, try and go high school, okay? Because you know all his friends follow there, so he may want to be there as well. So if you think that that is where the aim is, then you want to make sure his foundation is very, very strong, because high school is very traditional, it's very academic, and if you still want your child to follow the academic route, then go to high school, okay? But of course you have to prepare dia awal lah, yeah? Now, the second option, which I think is equally as fantastic, is vocational. Vocational is getting very big here. Just talking to a couple of politicians last week and how they want to push for vocational training. For example, Institut Kemahiran Mara, dia nak you lepas PMA je. Form 4 you boleh terus pergi. In fact, dia orang tak tengok pun result PMA. Mereka nak tengok how skillful you are. Misalnya, anak you suka bahagian mechanic engineering, for example, ya, ataupun electrical ni. So lebih hands on, ya. Anak you suka belajar menggunakan tangan. I know some parents, anak dia apprentice kat kedai mekanik. Masa tingkatan 1 dah suruh anak dia belajar. Spanner ni untuk apa? Spanner tu untuk apa? Yang ni untuk apa? Ini nak apa? Hantar anak dia pergi kedai mekanik dia untuk belajar hands on. Anak dia suka sangat. So instead of being problematic, he had behavioral issues at school, he look forward to finish school so he can go to see the mechanic. Hari-hari dia berlemai kat mekanik tu. And so in the end, decided after SRP, pergi vocational. IKM lah. Now, he is working in Mercedes. Dekat Shah Alam, dekat Glen Marie. Very successful, making 5 figure a month. So he's telling me how vocational saved his life. And vocational orang kata enrolled. Sebab orang tak nak masuk vocational. Orang ingat vocational is a bad career choice. And I can say for myself, because my cousin is special needs. He's a struggling learner, and he has his own company now, doing construction. He's very successful now. And dulu for the life of him, he can't even read. So send him for vocational training as an electrician. He wanted to become an electrician, you know. So we thought, oh, electrician apa sangatlah career kan. Well, he has his own interior design company. Right now he's doing much better than his other siblings who are normal. So you know there is a future in vocational. My son wants to go to vocational. He doesn't want to go high school, and I encourage him. But I said you have to find out what you're really into it, and he's really into coding right now, software and coding and graphics, illustration, gaming illustration. So I said you need skills in design, you need skills in coding, you need skills in software, and you need skills with illustration. So we use a lot of science, technology, arts, coding kind of projects at home. But memang, you know where he wants to intern? Kedai printing, kedai graphic design printing tu, that's where he want to intern. So, you know, and he said, I want to go, and I was tell in the last part how vocational training abroad are looking for dyslexic students, yeah, and they're willing to pay for them. Okay. Now, if your child is into, sebab tu saya nak you identify what are your strengths, your child's strength. Sebab vocational ada culinary, ada programming, ada graphic design, product design, automation, and you know this is where the future will be. We don't have enough people in those skill-based areas. First world countries like Australia, my brother was offered a PR in Australia to become a plumber. Plumber. So they pay very well. Plumber and electrician kat Australia lagi tinggi, sama payroll dengan doktor, ya. That's how highly they look. So, you know, you kena check the sewerage kat buildings and all that. Bukan plumber yang, kalau kita kata plumber tu pergi ke rumah repair plum jambat. Bukan. Ini yang bangun tu besar ni. So, yeah, so that there is a future in vocational. Art school, okay, culinary. Culinary is also another area. Kalau anak you suka masak, ya, ajar masak awal-awal, give him that passion. Yes, I've seen some amazing kids who are very passionate with cooking. Lagi sedap dari I masak. And then if you are into performing arts or fine arts, art and design, start from young. Start from young, encourage them art, encourage them lukisan, encourage, bawa pergi, kalau datang ke KL ke, bawa pergi museum komik, balai seni lukis, Ilham Gallery, attend their workshop. Diorang banyak cuti sekolah workshop, attend their workshop, photography workshop lah, apa je badak, bawa diorang pergi to give them the exposure, and then they will decide whether this is a great career choice for them or not. Okay. Ya.
Apa tu tadi Puan cakap? Kalau pergi KL, pergi apa? Balai seni lukis, lagi apa yang boleh?
Balai seni lukis is one. Diorang cuti sekolah banyak program. Another one, Ilham Gallery.
Ilham Gallery.
Yes, fantastic program. If you want to go or if you want to do a field trip, contact me because I know the curator there. I work a lot with, I communicate a lot with the art curator there. So yang tu lagi upscale daripada Balai Seni Lukis Negara sebab it's funded by nama kawan Madi tu, Tan Sri yang tua tu, I've got the former finance minister. Okay, so it's privately funded. So they are flush with funds. So they bring in artists from all over the region, from Indonesia, from Philippines, and they provide a lot of workshop. My son loves it. Ada photography workshop, RM5 saja. Sebab it's fully funded. Ada art appreciation workshop, art tours for children. Jadi dia bawa anak you throughout the whole gallery and explain the artist punya vision and expression, how the artist punya technique, why the artist think that way, and all these things for kids, young kids, early elementary kids. And they show books and they provide workshop and skills-based training there. Even teenagers, how to draw, how to illustrate. RM30 satu sesi. Very, very good program. So I really encourage you all. It's called Ilham Gallery, ILHAM. And there are a few more art galleries that does workshop for students as well. I'll share with you in the WhatsApp group. Yeah, they are privately funded, so your fees won't be so expensive lah.
Yeah, so for those like looks like they are talented in arts, like my daughter is quite talented in art for her age. So I don't know where should I send her in Form 4. Is it vocational? Does vocational have anything in arts or?
Yes, of course. All kinds, of course. Macam-macam ada. You do want to check Institute Kemahiran Mara. Let me find out more because my uncle used to head the Mara. Let me find a contact person and I will share with you where you can go into. Another one is Aswara. Aswara is performing arts. You know Joe Flizzo, the rapper, Ultimate?
Yeah.
Yes, they are from Aswara and they are both dyslexic. And they flung their PMR pun boleh masuk Aswara. They're very good lah. They're talented from young lah kan. So they are a very big supporter of dyslexics. So diorang kata for those who are into art, fine arts, performing arts, create your portfolio. Like I told you before, you must have a portfolio. Kalau tidak, the child macam terawang-awang, tak ada purpose, and you pun terawang-awang, tak ada purpose. So, so this is like your transcript lah. You tak ada academic ada report card, apa semua kan. So portfolio is to show your effort, your work, right? So start from young. I would say from early elementary, you do exposure. Hantar dia pergi art gallery, hantar pergi workshop and all these things, classes, courses, take YouTube courses. My son takes YouTube courses. And another area you want to look into is OutSchool. School is in English tapi murah lah. Tapi problem is the time difference. So mungkin anak you kena belajar pagi pukul 7 pagi, pukul 8 pagi. Sebab US kan malam kan. My son belajar drums with a Grammy Award winner drummer for $30 per class. Which is quite cheap. And sebab, you know, take advantage of the virtual learning. There's so much fine arts appreciation lah, and I'm also enrolling my son visits in Santa's village lah, all kinds of fun things. And my son loves drums, so he learns. We have a drum set at home, so he learns drum with the teacher pukul 8 pagi, and I love it because that teacher is dyslexic. So and he's a Grammy Award winner. Musician, and he create this teaching program for drummers. Sebab kita kat sini, we are so focused on like Yamaha punya style, where you have to study the music notes, you have to pass the exam before you go up, and it's so rigid and it's very stressful for the child because the child cannot read the notes. It's too crowded. So he realized that suddenly bila child dah terlalu regimented macam tu, the feel, the emotion, the beat, the rhythm tu dah tak ada dah. Macam tak ada emotion in it already. So what he does is he create his own teaching methodology on how to understand the musical sheet and to use it to your advantage as a dyslexic. So drums and dyslexics are great because they cross hands when they drum. So because of their brain, kan, they cross. So better drums daripada flute atau gitar atau piano. Somehow it makes sense. But bila come to the music sheet, dia terbalik-balik. So that's where they struggle. So so that's why he create his own way to study the music sheet. So I think there's so many classes and courses that are really cheap there. Ada yang $5 for 1 hour, and there's a lot of art courses and activities that you can do there as well at a really cheap price. So I'm going to share you the link later on. But what I say, as I go just now, elementary, focus on exposure, and then once you start masuk form 1, eliminate apa yang dia tak suka. Masa tu he has 6-7 years to recognize what he hates, he or she hates, right? Kalau anak you tak minat matematik sangat, buat the basic. Kalau anak you tak minat melukis, tak payah bagi dia buat lukis dah. Buangkan, you know, all the filter it out lah. So that bila dia, and then you start creating your portfolio from there. Dah tahu bila you eliminate, then you can see lah whether the strength and minat match, and then that's where you start develop the discipline, the portfolio, the purpose, create, you know, where what he wants to be, so that bila vocational, dia masuk seamless saja in that way. But of course, find out about vocational. There are also small private schools that provide vocational training for Form 4 and above as well. I know automation, you know, Formula 1.
Okay.
So they have this really small school to train, to apprentice teenagers to repair kereta for racing, kereta and motor for racing. So there are little pockets here and there for children to develop their skills. So after dia habis kat sekolah tu, terus diorang kira tak payah ambil SPM lah, ya, tak payah ambil SPM, terus masuk Formula One Championship as the apa tu pit stop punya crew lah, that sort of, and repairman and all that lah, kan, maintenance apa semua lah. So there is a future. Aswara is, as I said, also one area of school for the performing arts. So you know the Aswara kat Matik di KL. So they do, like, you know, they work with Malaysian tourism as also as backup dancers and all that lah. Giat Mara is another college, vocational, and IKM is more high school vocational. Giat Mara is the vocational college lah. So that's where you continue to get your diploma lah. Vocational is diploma. And normally I find that if they intend to do degree, they go to UiTM and do the degree lah. Sambung buat degree.
Jadi IKM dan Giat Mara ni apa beza dia in
IKM, if I'm not mistaken, sekolah vocational form 4, form 5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether they have college after that. I have to check. I'll get back to you. But Giat Mara is, I know, is college untuk dapat diploma lah atau certification lah, depending on your course lah. Okay?
Yep.
Okay. So I know Giat Mara banyak culinary, makeup artist, fashion design, that sort of thing. I know there are more, but I have to check. I'm not very clear. Okay. Now, if you want to go to this non-academic, there's also sports. So I know many dyslexics thrive well kat sekolah Bukit Jalil. So if your kids are sports talent, talented in sports, gifted in sports, that's another option. That's another option. But with all this non-vocational training, you need to support from young in terms of co-curricular being the main education. Okay, math, science, English, and bahasa untuk bagi hidup, untuk survive. Okay, co-curricular is your main education. So masa ni is where you discover at early education ni, masalah dia nak masuk brownies, bagi. Tapi you follow, make sure dia buat betul. I suggest 2-3 curriculum satu tahun. And knowing kids, masa tu dia buat lah malas lah, nak tukar lah, boring. Give them 1 year. Apa dia nak join boleh, 2 atau 3 tahun, but they must stick to it. That's the only way you know whether they're really talent or they're really interested in it. Okay? Katalah by the end of the year, they're slaving, you kena berkeleng dengan mereka nak sore papi, then you know that's not a curricular that you want to continue lah. So maybe change to something else lah. Okay? So co-curricular is the one where it will develop you, help you to do your portfolio lah. Misalnya, if your kids are into sports, so curricular, your main curricular would be his sports training, sports tournament, keep simpan lah, record, kan? And then tengoklah progress dia. Misalnya, my son is an athlete, so we record lah dia punya training, dia punya lepas tu coach dia akan kata okay, recovery dia very slow, or dia punya technical dia very bad, so we have to get another coach to train particularly on that skill set, and then we have another therapist to coach on his attention and focus, you know, and then we have to have a plan for his nutrition so that dia have that progress. You know, so it takes a long time, more than his academic time, in fact. But if he wants to be a sportsman, then be serious about it lah. You know, make a proper lesson plan, but in that route. Okay. So there is another option also. Is where is yeah. Any questions of her? Okay. Okay. So there's another option is homeschool, like I do, because I still want to give my son a chance to discover education. So I homeschool. And reason why is my therapy is early in the morning. So I want that therapy in the morning because my therapist is from the US, the time difference kan. So how to go to school kalau therapy di pukul 8 pagi, 9 pagi, every day pula tu. So and then his drum lessons pun pukul 8:30 pagi. So there's no way we can go to school. So we do that in the morning. And I also want to give a lot of accommodation for him. So that's why I support him with homeschool. So that is another route. And I cannot talk more about homeschool because it's quite big. But if there is any of you who are interested, you know, I will talk to you separately on that lah. Yeah. I know it's not very popular among parents in Malaysia, but in Selangor ramai dah. Selangor and Singapore ramai. Okay. In Philippines lagi ramai. Another one is apprenticeship. If let's say you realize that your children are skills based and more than academic based, I really encourage apprenticeship, and this could be part of your co-curricular as well, in the sense that you work in a small establishment for him to develop early skills. For example, if you see anak you minat by form 1, form 2, anak you minat apa tu motor, kereta. Bagi dia belajar sikit-sikit dekat mekanik. Just a few hours a day, you know, because they are teenagers at that time. So you know, it's okay for them to work a few hours a day in that kind of place for them to gain the experience. So if your child loves cooking, go to a bakery store and see whether they can intern there. If your child loves veterinarian, work in a pet shop, kedai kucing tu kan, experience it. If your child likes to do hair and makeup, work in a hair salon, a beauty salon, as a free intern, just volunteer je. If your child likes coding or graphic, work kedai printing. You know, those kinds of really basic experience. But you know, for those kind of children, it helps a lot with their psychology because they feel like they're in the real world. And at that age, where they're teenagers, they feel like they have a sense of purpose. They have a meaning, you know, like I'm doing this, I get paid, I feel proud, I get to accomplish something for the day. And I learn, you know, those small skills that you don't get to learn in school. So I really encourage you to consider that as part of after school training, especially when they go form 1, form 2 and above lah, 13, 14 years old and above. Simple things. Another way is entrepreneurship. If anak you suka berniaga, for example, suruh dia, maybe you can find someone like who sells things as an entrepreneur, online sales, get him to work there, volunteer lah as an intern there for maybe a few hours so he can learn basics of doing business, that sort of thing. I think those skills are very, very important and beneficial so that they can really discover whether this is the line of work that they really like. And if they do, oh, I have to put this one, there's this skill I need to do, there's so many things I need to learn. Okay, now the option of going abroad is also very, very attractive for them. In Europe particularly, they really value vocational. Europe, Australia, they really value vocational training. For example, in Belgium or in Germany, there are a lot of, most German and higher education are vocational based. So you're on the job. I think 60-70% of the time you'll be on the job and you get paid for it. And there is no university fee. You bayar makan minum dia je. It's free. The education is free. Subject that if Germany, you have to learn German lah. If Belgium, you have very basic Belgian, but most of the time you will speak English. That's why I really emphasize English, because this is another option if you think of pursuing your education abroad lah. I know German Malaysian Institute is one program, but there's also private consultants who can help you go there and establish yourself there. And the good thing is they not only pay you during vocational, university is free, they also give you PR sebab tak cukup. So a lot of our students, fresh SPM leavers, fly there every year because I know, because my son is one of them, and I find the program is fantastic, very, very hands-on. So that's one option. They also accept a lot of students who are dyslexic, sebab dia orang tahu dyslexic pandai dengan tangan kan. For example, like I give you the example of this case of the guy who worked in Mercedes. He's not working Mercedes here. He's working Mercedes in Germany. At first, he worked at Honda dekat Glenmarie, and then he moved to Mercedes in Glenmarie, and then they offered him to work in Germany, and now he's a German PR holder, Malay guy. So there is a career, and he's dyslexic, very dyslexic, and he only found out he's dyslexic at Germany. He didn't know. Yalah, zaman dulu kan, you don't have that assessment and things like that. So I suggest you go and check it out. The options is not limited just in Malaysia. Even in Netherlands, in Holland, they have universities that support students with dyslexia. Sebab negara-negara maju tak cukup orang yang craftsman, skilled traders, skilled men. And even in US right now pun, they realize that those kind of labor, skilled set labor tak cukup. So diorang banyak polytechnic and institute of technology that support students with dyslexia. So they bypass lah all the entrance exam like SAT apa semua ni, diorang bypass, tapi diorang nak tengok you punya experience during high school. You ada volunteer kat mana-mana ke, kerja kat mana-mana ke, that sort of thing lah. Yeah. So it's growing. It's growing. So I don't want you to think that there's no future for them or they still have to go to university. No. No. Yeah. Okay. So any questions so far?
Yeah. Regarding the apprenticeship, like for my daughter, she likes to draw a lot lah. She can I can say that at her 7 years old age, she can draw pretty well. But then I don't know where should I send her for apprenticeship.
Well, it's too young right now because she's still 7. Yeah, I would say, like I said earlier, if early elementary, I would suggest you send for discovering to hone her skills. So send for drawing classes, send for art classes, get a drawing tutor, art tutor, if possible. Go for museums. If you can afford to go to Singapore, they have some fantastic museums there. The Marina Bay Science Art Museum is a fantastic place. They also have a lot of workshop for children during school holidays that you can send discover artists. And I would say if she likes to paint, maybe take a course or an online class on artist appreciation. Who is Da Vinci? Who is Rembrandt? What makes them so good? Who is, let her discover various artists around the world so that she can develop. Sometimes when you learn, you have to see the great people, how they do, so that you have an idea of what you want to do. Let these great artists inspire her. Okay. So go to all this, learn about how these artists develop their skills. And then you can go teachers, pay teachers. They have artist appreciation courses. that you can, or you just Google artist appreciation courses for young children, and they have like teaching plan, learning teaching guides, and all the materials for you. So you boleh ajar kat rumah kan, and you learn together with her lah. So there's a lot like that. So I really encourage, if you are into art, to learn from the great masters, because they have a lot of techniques and design that inspires the child. So when I say great masters, it can range from the old ones, oil painting ones, like Renoir, to the modern arts like Keith Haring, Andy Warhol, Georgia O'Keeffe. So give her a taste of who these artists are, and let her explore and create her own techniques, you know, or let her try and emulate those kind of techniques that they use, and give her take on it, her perspective on it. So let me show what my son does for artist appreciation. Okay.
Puan Masyitah, before we go deeper, I want to ask, what does artist appreciation mean actually?
You learn about the art. You learn about the artist. For example, let's see, we create a portfolio sketchbook, and this is his previous artwork. So we study about the artist, how her works are, and how he gives his impression based on the techniques that the artist use, you know, just to develop his skills. And this is, we study his artwork, Keith Haring, and this is his work, his impression based on the artworks by the artist. So you have different kind of mediums. Some use oil, some use markers, some use acrylic paint, some use charcoal, kan? This is a Dutch artist, Edvard Munch, who uses a lot of orange, and this expresses his emotions. So this is how my son interprets his techniques in his artwork, you know? So sometimes it's basically like doing your own art. For example, George Seurat is the person who invented dot painting. So this is how my son does his work based on the techniques of dot painting and whatnot lah. Okay. So if he's an artist, she likes those kind of things, she's going to enjoy artist appreciation, because dia banyak bagi idea on how to express your artwork. Collage, dot painting, oil painting, strokes, charcoal lah, macam-macam lah. So, you know, you can find the curriculum online. Like I said, you just Google, and then, but the problem is kat Malaysia tak banyak buat art appreciation teachings. So, you know, you have to teach lah. Tak ada orang luar yang boleh ajar sebenarnya. Kalau setakat nak ajar artis, setakat nak ajar macam painting class macam tu, Mozart ada kan. There are a few of those art centers, tapi artist appreciation tu tak banyak sangat lah. Okay.
Okay.
Alright, any more questions? Nurul, Iza ke, ada any more questions?
No.
No, yeah? You found everything?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I need your exit survey. Thank you, Cik Amir, for yours. I got it this morning. Najwa, yeah, I know you came in a bit late, but I would really appreciate your intake, your comments on all of this, all these courses. Reason being is I'm also teaching students in the future, and I want to know whether I'm too fast, I'm too slow, or I miss something, you know, because I dah ke depan. I tak tahu apa yang you all really need. So this is my first attempt at trying to gauge what you need. But feel free to give me suggestions, ideas, you know, what you think of this course, what's the pace like and all that, yeah? Okay, so can you guys probably give me by next week? Boleh, yeah? Boleh. Okay, so I am going to wrap up. If there's not any more, are there any more questions? No?
If any people can contact you dalam WhatsApp kan, Puan?
Boleh, no, anytime aja. So thank you so much for listening to my 6-week course. I sincerely hope you guys find it useful for you. Yeah, it's so nice talking to you and meeting you guys. So I will see you hopefully sometime in the future one day. Yeah, okay. All right, so thank you so much. And take care.
Okay, terima kasih banyak.
Okay, sama.
Masyitah.
Sama. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.